Hello, my name's Danny, and this is going to be my movie review of It, 2017 version. Um, I went to go see this like pretty much everybody else did this weekend, and yeah, I thought it was good. Um, I kind of thought that it had a lot of issues that a horror film usually doesn't touch on. And so I was kind of okay with it not touching on them, but the fact that you bring them up, you should address it a little bit, but it's not that kind of movie. So what are you going to do with that? I don't know. I really want to talk about the girl because we're left to assume that she has some stuff happen to her, but we don't really get to know what that is. It's assumed, but not everybody is going to assume correctly. So just say it is what I feel like. And that's not what horror films do either. So we're talking about a scary movie. It's supposed to be scary, suspenseful. The plot line isn't supposed to really matter, but it really seems like it tries to have a serious storyline. The whole time I was sitting in the theater, I was thinking of Super 8. For anybody who's seen that movie, it is one of the most tremendous plot lines for kids that I've ever seen. And here we are dealing with Spielberg again, and he kind of does the same sort of stuff with the kids being tremendous actors and the storyline being something you have to actually think about, and you don't just get to sit there and be scared the whole time. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to struggle with, is how deep of a movie this really was. So I don't think they're going to really understand how good it was. So it was very funny, and I was sitting there with a friend, and I was wondering if people are going to really get the humor. I don't know myself, what is this movie supposed to take place? I think it's set in the 90s or late 80s. A couple of times it gives you the date on the screen. Are we really calling people some of the names that these kids call each other in the late 80s? I guess I wasn't really exposed to that much, but in Maine, did they know some of the curse words that we know nowadays? They sure said them in this movie, so I don't know if it's historically accurate or historically appropriate. I think they could have used some other slang technology. That's my comment on that. And then for me, it wasn't really scary as a horror film. I was expecting some different things, but I was surprised at a lot of things. But most of the time, I was just kind of laughing. I mean, it is a clown. What are you going to do with a clown? You know what I mean? you did about as much as you could with him taking form, and I'm not even going to get into that right now, but he did take form a couple times, and it was scary enough, and people were surprised, and I heard a couple people behind me in the theater saying, "Oh wow, that was corny," and I kind of agree with them. So we'll just leave it at that. It wasn't all that scary, but so it just is what it is, and it was really good for what it was. I just want to mention, because I know a lot of critics out in LA or New York will say this on their movie reviews. It's pretty obvious at the end that there's going to be a second one, and I'm very much going to have conversations with people on why that is and how that's possible, because when you sit through this movie, that's what I'm saying, is people just don't understand what this movie just did. I think we all sat through it and we were like, oh, that's funny, oh, that's scary, and they're not going to think about what's behind that. There's a lot to figure out on why this movie deserves a second one, because I don't want to get into it right now, because I'm not one of those people who's going to ruin the movie for you, but there are a lot of deep issues in here that this movie needs to answer before they make a second one for me. And I want to know some answers, and I want to figure some things out if I'm going to see the second one in theater. Because I just sat through the first one, and I was asking questions the whole time, and none of them got answered. Again, lying under the basis that a horror film doesn't usually do that. So it just kind of goes at face value and tries to scare people and make them laugh. And that very much achieved its goal. So maybe that's all I was trying to do. And then, I'm sorry to be so annoying about this, but the main bully somehow gets controlled by the clown. And if you want to try and explain that to me, go ahead. And it's not going to make any kind of worldly sense because it's a movie, and movies don't have to make sense all the time. That's why people get shot in a movie, and then the next one they get brought back to life unexplainably. And we're just left to say, oh, okay. Well, in this movie, I was left with that feeling of just saying, oh, okay, because it made no freaking sense. And I'd like to be explained to it, but I know I won't be. So that kind of ruined that next 10 minutes of the movie for me, because I was just like, oh, this is absurd. So, but for a horror film, no, there can be absurd and be good. So, other than that, I was really impressed with the acting of the kids. The parents were just ridiculously awful, and I hope that none of them have regular jobs, because this movie ruined it for me for whoever they are. I didn't recognize anybody, thank goodness, because I would have wondered why they took this role. And I'm kind of glad they got a bunch of nobodies to be the parents of the kids. And then just the bullies, they were supposed to be 15. Yeah, we find that out about one of them. He's supposed to be 15. Yeah, no, they look like they were about my age. So that also was just kind of funny. So overall, I sat there and I was very enjoyed of what the movie was. But as a avid movie watcher, I consider myself an avid movie watcher. I have so many questions about this movie that just don't make sense. And I know everybody else is not going to care, but I do. So I'm going to give this movie a B-. Take it at face value for what you want. Enjoy yourself. Sit through the movie and just enjoy it for a movie. But if you are a smart person by your standards and you want to know why things are a certain way, you probably won't enjoy this as much as you think. And I think everybody's going to kind of get the glimmer and glow of it being a new movie and being a new horror film very worn off of them very soon once they figure out what this movie did and that they actually want to make a second one. So B-. And if you'd like to watch my other reviews, that'd be great. And you can hit the subscribe button below. Thank you.